Okay, so here's a piece of tint which I've already pre-cut for that window, so it's slightly oversized both directions because we can trim that all up later. And there's two sides to a piece of tint, so you have one side which when you rub it together is quite smooth, and we have one side you rub it together it's quite tacky. So the smooth side is the side which has the clear backing which we're going to peel off. And the easiest way to do that is to lay it up on another piece of glass with the smooth side facing outwards. Just squirt the edge and rub your fingernail over the edge, and you'll finally pick up the piece of clear backing. And with our soapy solution, we want to saturate the tint. Try not to touch the film with your fingers because otherwise it leaves big fingerprints. And then we go back to our window we're about to tint, and we'll wet the window, but we'll keep the top portion unwet because it has a tendency to pick up any bits of dust and shit which is on the top of the window frame and bring it down over our glass. Best way to hold a piece of tint with two hands underneath it like this. And making sure it's slippery enough so that we can move it into position. Covering all the edges. Wet it again with our soapy solution. And with our big squeegee we can start to squeegee the water out. So holding pressure on the tint so it doesn't slip around. We'll always start at the top, side to side, and then we do downstrokes going towards the bottom of the glass. The harder you push, the more moisture it pushes out of between the tint and the glass. Now trimming the edges is a little bit tricky. This is our other squeegee, our smaller squeegee. So always keeping your blade nice and sharp. Use plenty of them if you need to, there's heaps there. Holding the card up against the edge of the frame, cut into the tint, and then we can run it across to the edge. And we want to push all the moisture out of the edge of the film there, and we want to do that to every edge. New piece of blade, holding the card into the edge of the glass. And then pushing the rest of the water out. Sometimes you have to lift the tint off the edge of the framing as it will have a tendency to stick, and you'll struggle to push the tint into the edge properly. So if you need to, just pull that off the frame. Pushing the water out the edge. Now when you cut the bottom one, you want to try not to have it tucked too tight into the bottom edge, because there's always a lot of dust and shit which is hard to get out of there when you're cleaning, and it'll want to have a tendency to get sucked up into the tint. and leave a terrible finish. So you still want to run it across the edge, but not right into the edge of the frame, if that makes any sense. Making sure your blade is always fresh and sharp. I like to snap off a piece after every cut I do and push the water out of the edge. Just need to tidy up some edges there. And I always like to try and do another going over with the squeegee once I've got all the edges done, just to make sure I can get more moisture out. The more moisture you get out, the quicker it dries. Making sure that this is always soapy wet so your squeegee slides over the tint nicely. And then when you finish off, go over the edges like so, and just use your rag to collect all the moisture, all the bits of water that that's pushing out, so it doesn't seep back in underneath the tint. Boom.